G'day and welcome to my garage and welcome to the new year of 2020. This video I'm presenting the Gingery dividing head, a modification of the Gingery dividing head. The Gingery dividing head is outlined in book 6, and the basis of the modification is working around a 50-to-1 gear ratio. I haven't got a 40-to-1, and that's what the book is working around. Also, you may see me reading notes. Whoops. How many times have I dropped you? Okay, you will see me referring to these pages. It's a photocopy of the book. I found I used the book itself extensively through the milling machine project, book 4, and the book at the end was pretty much starting to fall to pieces. Pages haven't fallen out yet, but they are close. So I've had to do some repair. So I don't bring this book out very often. Well, I won't. I just don't bring the book out. I photocopy all the pages and use the photocopies. So, Gingery's dividing head. Now, the reason for the calling it a modification, as I just explained, I have a worm and drive, worm, wheel and worm in a ratio of 50-to-1. There's the worm wheel and there's the drive. Now, I am very grateful to Joe, one of my subscribers. Joe mailed these to me from America at great expense, I'm sure. Well, I know the postage was at great expense, but generously Joe provided the worm wheel and the worm, which I said is 50-to-1, so it is basically 25% larger than the worm and wheel as mentioned in the book. So the whole dividing head itself has to be larger. Now, I've managed to keep the envelope of the machine fairly close to the size in the book. But what I did is I drew the dividing head up in CAD and increased it by 25%, just the whole thing, increased it by 25%. And from there I had to adjust the position of the spreaders, these 3 spreaders that keep the front and the back frames. I sometimes refer to them as plates, but they're called frames. These spreaders keep the frames apart. So again, grateful thanks to Joe, I am able to do this project, and I still use the majority of the machining. The majority of the machining processes are the same, I should say. Sizes don't change too much. It was mainly the physical outline and the spreader positions that had to change. This first video you'll be watching, if you watch it, and if you watch it all the way through, is all about the making of the patterns. This is that is, I only need to make one frame pattern. This one frame pattern carries the boss and the foot. I put the slot in later on the milling machine. So that's one frame, and then the other frame, let's see, the back plate has no spreaders, so the front plate has the boss, the foot, and the spreaders. Now, I suggest strongly that you screw these spreaders in when it comes to making this plate. The reason for that is I had to do two of these because the first time one of the spreaders, or two of the spreaders, moved and it was kicked over. So I suggest, because they have to be removable because the other frame doesn't have the spreaders. So screw the spreaders in. The hub brake, that gets split after it's cast, that gets split, the bolt put through there. This is the pattern for the worm hub. In Gingery's book he describes that the worm wheel has a boss, that the brake pattern, and that's to size, by the way, or is it? Yeah, that's to size. So the one that Gingery used must have already had a hub on the worm wheel. The one I got from Joe doesn't have a hub, so I had to make a hub. So that goes through, that goes into the worm wheel, and then the hub creates a boss on the external side of the worm wheel for the brake to brake on. Plate hub pattern used to drill the fraction plates. The worm carrier, it's a split pattern. The worm carrier. The plate carrier. This will sit on this section here of the worm carrier. That will slide onto that, and the plates, the fraction plates get bolted to this. Crank handle. The handle is extra long because it's part of the sprue. That's a two-piece pattern also. Another two-piece pattern is the foot, and that's to allow, that will be bolted on the back plate, and that allows the dividing head to lay down on its back and become a rotary table. Then the fraction plates. There's 3 fraction plates in the book. Here we go. This is the sector arm, and there's two of these to be made. There's a fair bit of pattern work and a fair bit of casting and a fair bit of machining to go into this simple dividing head. Anyhow, see you later. Like with all things gingery, it starts off with a pattern. So we're not on the bandsaw first. We're on the lathe first, cutting up some. These are oh, that's wrong. That's wrong. So I've got to cut a 55mm, 22 down to 20. These are the spreaders for the dividing head. So let me continue. Okay, that's 2 of them made. Well, I'm just going to finish those off. That's the vertical bandsaw. It's horizontal at the moment. This is the start of a dividing head. The Gingery dividing head, actually. I know it looks different to the book because it is. It'll become evident later on. What am I doing? I'm doing this front section here. This piece up here. 35 mil long, 38 mil. No, 38 mil long, 35 mil round. It actually becomes 32 after I machine it in aluminium. Didn't back out far enough. Okay, I've just put some PVA glue on here. This is the worm carrier pattern. So that has to go on there. Now I saw the other day on Craig's workshop, he put a bit of salt to stop it from shifting around. So we'll see how good that is. Oh, I think that salt was a success. All right, let's make that set. Wait for that to set, I should say. No good for the blood, but it's probably looks like it's good for woodworking or wood gluing anyhow. What have we got here? This is the plate carrier. Let's cut this one out. Just got caught. Alright, leave it with me. So yes, I just had to take this shield away and back off the rollers, take out the piece of timber and then realign it all again. Should we running? You may have noticed that I wasn't holding the timber level. I was holding it up a few degrees to give us some pattern relief. Can't remember what it's called now. Draft. It's far too much. I've got to file it, but that's okay. Had to be filed anyhow to get that round and smooth. So over to the filing station called the vise. Another piece to the dividing head puzzle. This is what pattern is this one? The sector. Whoops, sorry. This is the sector pattern. Two will be cast from this one pattern. So here we go. I shall continue. Okay, I'm working on the spindle brake hub pattern. Wood everywhere. I should measure it. Okay, 54. Got to get it down to 50. Uh, 52 as expected. Oh, it's hitting up my nose. I have no idea what this timber is. It was piece of a, it's 50 by the way, it was a part of a wardrobe that I stripped. Well, it was a standalone wardrobe, and I took the doors off and took some framing out to make a built-in wardrobe. So it's very nice timber, and have no idea what it is, and I'll probably get crucified for using it as a pattern, but hey, it was a block that was the size, block of timber that was the size I needed. Alright, that's enough for now. Dust everywhere. Well, what have we got here? The spindle brake hub. So I'm just doing the last bit on it now. I need to face that end off when I get it off. Cut through this, and that's another pattern down. There we go. Nice wood. Just got to clean that end off, and this pattern is done for the spindle brake hub. The spindle brake. Patterns made, ready for casting. What I have here is the plate hub. This is not part of the dividing head. This is a jig, so that in my case it's going to be a 32mm hole that I've got to turn down. When it's aluminium, I've got to turn that down to 32mm to receive that fraction plate. Then the fraction plate is screwed to this hub, and this hub and the fraction plate mounted on the dividing head. This is all towards the end, so it's not part of the dividing head, but it's a jig for the dividing head fraction plates, for drilling the plates. Alright, so let's just turn this down to shape. I've got a centre in the end there. I've already turned these two surfaces. I've just got to square up the back and finish that off, possibly put some taper in this. This is still the same plate hub that I just showed, but I knocked off the small hub on this side, and went back to the book just to check on things. Excuse me. And I was making it off the machining drawing, and not the pattern drawing. The pattern drawing is a simple piece like this. Later, when it gets machined, this gets machined down to, in my case, a 32mm hub. So I've just glued another 15mm on the end here, and I'll bring it down to size. Excuse me, I'll bring it down to size. Oh, that didn't work out too well. Ripped off the end. I'll have to glue that back on.